But I just knew that they would turn it around then.
Darlington have had their problems on the pitch and off it. A winding up order and an £86,000 tax debt coupled with a run of 8 league games without a win. It didn't look too promising when Mark Cooper opened for the Cobblers. But Darlington began to play after the break. Simon Shaw made it 4 goals in 6 games, just a minute into the second half. And the mood lightened even more after Darren Roberts' effort. Darlington's first 3-pointer since mid-October was guaranteed when Roberts made it a personal double in the 77th. Add to that a trading profit of £118,000 and news that 2 syndicates are interested in buying the Quakers, and you have a slightly more positive outlook.
Another defeat for Brighton was made even worse by Darlington's win. So the bottom club are 6 points behind. Lake Orient move up 2 places.
They may have started the night as the bottom 2 teams in the Nationwide League, but Brighton and Darlington served up the entertainment, and rock-bottom Brighton led when Craig Maskell scored. But watch out, the David Hodgson revival is gathering pace, and the Quakers hit back after the break when Robbie Blake tiptoed through the home defence and finished with some style. Price's club Brighton actually went ahead again. See if you can work out exactly who did what during this little comedy of errors. Former Middlesbrough striker Ian Baird claimed the goal. But Darlington fought back again, and they were level just after the hour. Glenn Naylor had his shooting boots on. That was 2-2, and all set up for a grandstand finish. And the winner came after a flowing Quakers move. Naylor was on hand again to supply the vital touch. That's 2 wins in a row for David Hodgson's men, but the only way is down for Paul Brighton.
Hello again. Darlington's troubled football club held its annual general meeting today. Afterwards, many shareholders said they remained unhappy. They weren't satisfied with the answers given to detailed questions about the club's finances.
The shareholders had much to talk about, such as why does the club owe so much money when it's taken in about £1 million in transfers and TV money over the past year. In the event, the meeting lasted about 20 minutes. The board seemed happy, so did some shareholders, but many were taken aback.
It was all over in sort of 20-25 minutes. I think, like the board, most of the shareholders were pleasantly surprised at the ever-improving situation with the club. And, well, it's gone through as we expected it would.
We didn't get to know a lot. There's a lot hasn't been said. And you're not allowed to unless you've written in. You know, there were quite a few questions which had been sent in by people which were brought up, but we didn't get a lot of answers.
Oh, far from happy, no, far from happy. I mean, the gossip and the stories that you hear, it just amazes me.
I would say, in fairness, I think the Masonic is a bit less secretive than the football club at the moment. But we can get no answers to the questions that have been answered, that have been asked via the media, the radio, the newspapers.
Lincolnshire millionaire Reg Brealey is the power behind Darlington. He controls Soccerdome Limited, the company which owns over 80% of the club's shares. Soccerdome has been trying to buy this empty Cummins factory in Darlington to turn it into a huge indoor soccer arena. The fans are worried.
If Soccerdome fails, what effect will that have on the football club? Especially in view of the fact that Soccerdome is now the major shareholder of the football club. If it goes bankrupt, will the football club go bankrupt along with it?
But the board is confident about its finances.
Well, I think from Darlington Football Club, our balance sheet probably stands in as good a light as many clubs. And there's a lot of Premier clubs, I think, would change places with us at the moment.
But not, so far, any potential club buyer, it would seem. They have offered nothing close to the £500,000 price tag.
Darlington out by 1-0. Both sides had plenty of chances to win the match, but the 2 goalkeepers were in fine form. Brian Lords, the former Nottingham Forest player, now in Darlington colours, was kept at bay by Tony Craig. And Paul Newell, not to be outdone by his opposite number, kept out Alan Smart. But in the end, the game was settled in the final minute. Darren Edmondson got the all-important goal for Carlisle to put them into tonight's draw.
I mean, we've done it a few times now, so hopefully we can get a decent club back here, a Premiership club maybe back for the fans and the club. It'll be superb.
I'm very, 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 very disappointed for 14 players in that dressing room. Very disappointed. I thought they were absolutely superb. but you get nothing for being superb if you don't score.
Darlington are still second bottom after another setback, this time at Chester. Rod McDonald got the final touch in a crowded 6-yard box. Peter Reid's brother Sean laid on the second for Chester. This time McDonald had oceans of space to place his header wide of keeper Paul Newell. Chester were down to 10 men when Darlington substitute Brian Atkinson set off on a run, which ended with a blinding strike past Ronnie Sinclair. 2-1 was the final score, but feelings ran high when tempers rose on the pitch. Manager David Hodgson let his frustration show. The Quakers are still in deep trouble.
David Hodgson's side looked to be heading for a happy Christmas when Robbie Blake's good work allowed Michael Oliver to stab the Quakers in front. But the lead didn't last long. Torquay were level when Steve Winter buried a shot from close range. And Darlington were behind when they fell asleep from a corner, and Mark Hawthorne had all the time in the world to beat Paul Newell. And it just got worse. Jamie Ndar laid on the chance for Hawthorne to bag his second, and the Quakers were down and out. But they did get a goal back, and a good one. Glenn Naylor controlled, turned, and finished well. But that was where the Christmas spirit ended. To beat Leyton Orient, you need to beat the ageless Peter Shilton. The Quakers only managed to do that once on Saturday. Former Sunderland man Brian Atkinson with a fine solo effort. But Darlington haven't kept a clean sheet in the last 23 games. And from a cross by Dominic Naylor, another ex-Sunderland man, Colin West, beat Paul Newell and headed Orient level. After that, it was backs to the wall for the Londoners, and Peter Shilton was the hero. The 47-year-old was in unbeatable form, and a full-length save from Twynham meant it ended all square.
You won't get very good odds against Fulham winning the 3rd Division Championship, especially after Saturday's annihilation of Darlington. It began with a 4-man move and ended with a simple finish for Rob Scott. Surprisingly, perhaps the only goal of the first half. But don't mention the last half hour to Darlington. It produced 5 goals, all in their net. Richard Carpenter tricking his way through, and then finishing in style. Fulham 2-up. Within 3 minutes, Darlington, who'd never won at Craven Cottage, knew it was going to be the same old story again. Paul Newell palmed out Danny Cullif's shot, but Cullif able to even nutmeg his colleague for the 3rd. Fulham could hardly have been more impressive and totally overwhelmed their opponents in the last 10 minutes. It was one substitute, Paul Brooker, who set up another, Darren Freeman, for the 4th goal. Brooker may not have been on the field a long time, but he certainly made a major impact. Not a bad time to come on, mind you, with your side so well ahead. He wreaked havoc and actually scored the 5th himself, Fulham's 5th different scorer. Mike Conroy could have got that one himself, but he didn't have long to wait to cement his position as the division's top scorer. Breasting the ball down and then lobbing over Newell for the 19th goal of what promises to be a memorable campaign for him.
There was only 5 minutes on the clock at Feethams when Cambridge defender Jody Craddock turned Simon Shaw's cross into his own net to give Darlington the lead. Right on time, Phil Brumwell launched the ball forward and Robbie Blake crashed home number 2, giving the Quakers a 10-point advantage over bottom club Brighton. What about that one then?
Cambridge came unstuck at lowly Darlington after 2 goals in the last 4 minutes. Glenn Naylor credited with the first, though it looks very much like defender Jody Craddock, who helps the ball over the line. No disputing who got the second. Robert Blake beat the offside trap and then beat keeper Scott Barrett too. Only their 7th win this term, and they're now 10 points clear of the bottom spot.
It's been a miserable period for Alan Mullery, 11 matches without a win, and just when you need it least, the opposing keeper pulls off a world-class save.
3 goals in 5 first-half minutes launched Darlington towards their best win of the season over Lincoln City. Michael Oliver's 7th of the season on 24 got them on their way. And 2 minutes later, Russell Kelly hit home to double the Darlington lead. Run ragged by their host, Lincoln were 3 down at the break. Top scorer Darren Roberts had plenty of time to half volley number 3. And it was Roberts again with his second of the game on 75. Before Lincoln belatedly got into the game, 2 goals in quick time from Gareth Ainsworth. The first on 80. And the second after a goalkeeping error on 83. That's 17 in total now for Ainsworth this season. Phil Bromwell wrapped up a great afternoon for Darlington with the 5th goal 2 minutes from time. And the final score, Darlington 5, Lincoln City 2.
Phil Mason reporting, and well done to Darlington, the day's top scorers in all the nationwide leagues.
Park could believe that result. What about the match at Feetham's? Darlington's best home win for more than 3 years was against Lincoln City. 3 weeks ago, Darlington lost 6-0 at Fulham. It was a bit of a blow at the time, but now Darlington boss David Hodgson thinks it was a blessing in disguise. They haven't lost since, and Michael Oliver's opening goal on Saturday opened the floodgates against Lincoln. Oliver was man of the match, but it was a team performance for the manager to be proud of. Within a minute, Russell Kelly had put them 2 in front, and just 4 minutes later, on the half hour, Darren Roberts made it 3. That was his first goal in 10 games, but not his last of the match. In fact, Roberts scored the next as Darlington continued the scoring in the second half, 4-0 with 15 minutes still to go. With the win guaranteed, the Quakers perhaps relaxed just a little too much, and a couple of quick goals for Lincoln's Gary Ainsworth briefly threatened a comeback by the Imps. But there was never really any danger of that, and a first league goal for Phil Brummel completed the scoring, again set up by Oliver. 5-2 was the final score. Darlington 4th bottom of Division 3, but the signs are promising. Darlington also had to come from behind when Hereford broke the deadlock at Edgar Street. Carl Beeston fired the opening goal on 21 minutes, a powerful strike to beat keeper Toivo Malainen. The Quakers, though, are on an unbeaten run at the moment and hit back for a point when Darren Roberts set up Robbie Blake for a simple tap-in just before half-time. 1 each the final score, 4 games without defeat for David Hodgson's team.
And the 3rd Division derby at Scarborough proved an explosive affair. It wasn't so much the 5 goals that provided all the entertainment, it was more the procession of Darlington players heading for the dressing rooms.
Just 7 minutes gone and already the match was slipping away from Darlington. Gareth Williams made the most of Andy Crosby's helping hand and off went the Quakers captain. If they were stunned by the loss of their skipper, 3 goals in 5 minutes killed them off. David Curry with the first, the provider, Scarborough's new signing, Stephen Brodie. A clever back heel from Williams then set up Michael McElhatton for his first goal in senior football. 2-0 to Scarborough, and still the goals kept coming. This one was the pick of the bunch. Curry, on loan from Carlisle, turning back the clock to his Darlington days with a superb finish. It was all too much for Phil Bromwell, a 2-footed assault on Curry, and off he went. Darlington now down to 9 men, and we've not even reached half-time yet. 2 minutes into the second half, and Brodie linked up with former Sunderland teammate Gary Bennett to lay the 4th on a plate for Curry. He's only the 2nd player in Scarborough's history to score a league hat-trick. Even with 2 men short, though, the Quakers didn't give up and pulled one back through Michael Oliver. But referee Eddie Wolstenholme had the final word. Mark Barnard red-carded for retaliation. And then there were 8.
Played in 4 different countries. In some countries where sometimes questions can be asked of officials when games or whatever term you want to use. But never like that. I mean, that was a shot. Absolutely abysmal. Spoiled the game for both sides.
Obviously they'll be disappointed that they lost 3 players, and you know, obviously David will need to look at that from his point of view. It's nothing to do with me, and it is a shame in a sense, because I thought it would have been a very, very good game of football. 2 teams that wanted to move the ball and pass the ball and play the game properly. So in that sense it was a shame, but you know, I'm just pleased with them 4-1.
Did you have a word with the ref after the game?
Yeah, knocked on his door, shook his hand and said thanks for spoiling the game. Bye-bye. Give the spectators their money back if you could, and that'd be it.
And you won't be giving them a great mark when you assess?
No, I think you mark something from 1 to 10 is what you do for a referee, but I'll create a little box under that and I'll put a 0 in there.
A happy man. Name of the game, we start our nationwide league roundup at Feetham's.
Scunthorpe keeper David Lucas spent a month on loan at Darlington earlier this season. Maybe that's what confused him. Less than 3 minutes gone and a dreadful clearance set up the easiest goal of the season for Glenn Naylor. 7 minutes later and Lucas was at it again. This time though, Darren Roberts led him off the hook. At the other end, Toivo Moilanen just about kept out this terrific volley from the third division's top scorer, Paul Baker. But 2 minutes from time, Gary Twynham made it safe for the Quakers. Relief all round Feethams after the previous week's shocker at Scarborough.
All of a sudden, because that one stupid incident last week, or 3 daft incidents last week, we suddenly find ourselves in a position where the confidence had gone out, but the buzz around the place suddenly had been flattened. And I think that reflected a little bit today in the way that we played, but at the end of the day we got the result, clean sheet, and that's, as I said, is the most important thing.
Back down in the dungeon, Darlington are still deep in trouble. 4 minutes gone, and they gifted Exeter's Danny Bailey a free header. But 2 goals in 5 minutes put the Quakers in front. Robbie Blake and Darren Roberts combined to set up Brian Atkinson to shoot past Ashley Bays. Darlington's second was something of a classic. Frenchman Daniel Barbara saw Bays struggling and scored from fully 30 yards out. And that pleased the man who signed him, manager David Hodgson. Exeter, who were 1 place below Darlington before Saturday, levelled the match just on half-time. Darren Robotham got the goal with a diving header. And 5 minutes into the second half, Darlington fell to a free-kick routine, which left Glenn Crowe a straightforward chance. It's Darlington v Bottom Club Brighton on Saturday.
The Quakers were undone at Wigan by a man on a hot streak and some strange refereeing. Andy Crosby used his knee to get the ball back to the keeper, but Toivo Maloyan was still penalised for picking up the back pass. And while Darlington complained, Wigan acted. Top scorer Graham Jones finished the job. More controversy in the second half. Darlington claimed Adam Reid was fouled before Crosby brought down Andy Saville. Even that didn't look like much, but it was a penalty. Graham Jones was on the spot, and he did the business for his and Wigan's second. The Quakers just couldn't keep up with the Jones boy. 5 minutes later, he dived in to claim his second hat-trick in 4 days. Another match ball for the North East lad with 28 goals this season. But David Hodgson's men didn't go down without a fight, and after a well-worked short corner, sub Gary Twynham headed home with the minimum of fuss. There was still time for another consolation. Twynham involved again. His run was ended by a push in the box and a penalty. Robbie Blake scored, but it was another defeat and more worries for the Quakers. Now you'll just have to take our word for it, but Robbie Blake was the man who gave the Quakers an early lead from this free kick. Did he mean it, or was it a fluke? And does it really matter anyway? The wind was gale force at Feethams on Saturday, and the home side used it well in the first half. A good move and a clever finish from Gary Twynham. And they doubled their lead by the break. After they turned round, David Hodgson's side performed just as well, restricting the visitors to a few long-range efforts. Brighton have been showing signs of crawling out of the Nationwide League basement. This result keeps the Quakers a healthy 8 points ahead of them.
Well, that's 4 wins on the trot for us at home. I mean, we keep having good runs, then we split down when some referee decisions keep going against us and knocking us back again. But that was a very important result for them today, and they were up for it. They were up for the Wigan game, they got nothing out of it. They were up for the day, and they got 3 points. And I'm delighted for them because they're the ones who play, not us.
Darlington had to come from behind at Torquay. Adam Reid misjudged the through ball, and Andy McFarland outjumped last-minute stand-in keeper Paul Newell. They were well worth the draw, though, with a superb equaliser. Robbie Blake and Gary Twynham combined to set up top marksman Darren Roberts back on the score sheet with his first goal in 7 games.
The Quakers are moving in the right direction, slowly. Human pinball time in the Chester box on Saturday. It was Andy Crosby's lucky day. A rare goal for the Darlington skipper, 1-0. But Chester were back in it by the break. Andy Milner took his chance well, 1-1, and that was that.
Just 4 minutes gone and the Quakers were behind. Simon Shaw clearly pulled back David Thomas. Swansea player-manager Jan Molby made no mistake from the penalty spot. But Darlington keep plugging away, and they levelled when Glenn Naylor's shot came back off the post. Robbie Blake finished the job.
Darlington are fast pulling away from the dogfight at the foot of the table. Glenn Naylor was the hero yesterday. His first goal came when he got on the end of a clever free-kick routine. Definitely worked out on the training ground, that one. That was after just 2 minutes, and Naylor scored a better one 10 minutes later. Darren Roberts with the knockdown. Naylor took aim. Picked that one out. Well worth celebrating and well worth another look. Naylor can't have hit too many better than this during his career. Into the second half now, and it was hat-trick time. Substitute John Atkinson, a new signing, worked his way into the box. He went down under challenge, and the referee said penalty. Up stepped Glenn Naylor for that golden hat-trick moment. Simon Shaw was sent off for 2 bookable offences late on, but the Quakers' 6-point Easter has them well away from danger. Fulham were promoted from Division 3 last night. Carlisle would have joined them if they won. And when a well-worked Rory Delap goal saw the Cumbrians ahead early on, it looked like there was a promotion party on the cards. But this was a big night for Darlington as well, with bottom club Brighton set to appeal against their 2-point deduction. The Quakers weren't yet guaranteed Nationwide League football next season. Carl Schutt's awful miss didn't help. It looked like it was the Cumbrians' night. Keeper Tony Cade saved well from Simon Shaw. But Cade's luck was about to run out in bizarre fashion. Darren Roberts took aim for Darlington, and one way or another, it ended up in the back of the net. The shot hit the post and was on its way out until the unlucky Cade flapped at it, and it went back in. Carlisle was still dreaming of promotion. Steve Hayward blasted in the free kick, but Toivo Moilanen was equal to it. But the Quakers grabbed the winner with 5 minutes left. Carl Schutt involved in the build-up, Michael Oliver with the unstoppable finish. Carlisle will surely still go up, but this victory puts Darlington 10 points ahead of Brighton. So is the pressure off yet?
We'll be off when we're safe. That's when the pressure will be off. No one has the divine right to go and win the next 4 games. No one, you can easily lose them. All I'm saying to the players is, I'm sorry, but tonight you've got to be sensible. Keep out of the clubs, keep away from the pubs, go home. Get your feet up, get your rest, and then on Saturday, if you get 3 points, then you can enjoy yourselves. But up till now, no.
Hartlepool's next match is at Darlington. They had their own problems at the weekend. Mark Leonard was given time to put Rochdale in front. David Hodgson's side still need a win to be certain of safety. They conceded a second goal to Alan Johnson, and next Saturday's derby match at Feetham's will be crucial to both sides. Down at the bottom of the Premiership, but in the depths of Division 3, survival is the name of the game. The weekend's other big North East derby was at Feetham's, where Darlington and Hartlepool were fighting for their Football League future.
Darlington's cricketers were enjoying a pre-season knock-up with Gateshead Fell, but over the fence, the atmosphere was anything but friendly. Surprised that Darlington are where they are at the moment?
Surprised after last season, yes, because I thought we'd have a successful season, but when we started to sell players like we have, we're bound to end up where we are. We deserve to be where we are. I mean, the lads have tried their hearts out, but then directors are trying nothing.
I mean, Hartlepool, they've had a bit more finance than we have. I'd feel very sorry for Harold Hornsey if they do go down, because, you know, he's been a saint to the club. And if we'd had someone like that here, I think you'd find that we would have been in a higher division by now.
The threat of the Vauxhall Conference has been hanging over both clubs this season.
If Hartlepool went out of the Football League, the town would be devastated. Devastated. We just can't think about that. That's an awful question to ask.
Colchester isn't a nice place to visit, or Rochdale isn't a nice place to visit on a Tuesday night, but it's a lot better than Gateshead or Dover City.
Good luck today, Joe.
Cheers, all the help we can get.
Aye.
There was nothing lucky about Michael Brown's stunning free kick, which put Poole ahead on 8 minutes, but they were fortunate to hold on to that lead for so long. Darren Knowles scrambled the ball clear after Glenn Naylor's shot had gone back off the post, and then new Darlington signing Carl Schutt hit the woodwork. A minute from the break though, Schutt's persistence set up Darren Roberts for his 17th goal of the season. Another fabulous finish to make it 1-1, and that's the way it looked like staying until deep into injury time. Substitute Joe Allen had only been on the field 7 minutes, but his dramatic winner has thrown Poole a lifeline. After that goal, he's ready to put his shirt on both teams beating the drop.
I think it's probably one of the most important in the career, to be honest, Jeff. I'm absolutely delighted, especially for all them people in Hartlepool. We're not out of the woods quite yet, but let's put one on the way. And
And I'm delighted especially for Harold Hornsey, the chairman, and he can have that one.
Staying in the league shouldn't be classed as success, not after what has been achieved. In our eyes, on my eyes, unless the players feel on the same wavelength as me, it's failure.
Win lifts Hartlepool above North East rivals Darlington, who lost at Mansfield despite going ahead. Stags defender Warren Hackett did well to keep out the first effort, but he could do nothing about Carl Schutt's strike. Soon after the break, Mansfield were level. Darrell Clark wrestled to the ground by Adam Reed. And John Doolan made no mistake from the spot. 7 minutes later, Mansfield clinched victory. The cross cleared only as far as Tony Ford, whose second goal in as many games was one to remember.
Brighton are off the bottom for the first time since October the 5th, so it all comes down to Brighton's game at Hereford.
In jeopardy at Darlington, a game witnessed by Alistair Mann.
It's a good cross, and there is Carl Schutt, and he's got his shot in! Well, almost on cue. Oliver looking for the run of Shaw. Lloyd has intervened. Chance now for Cardiff. Lloyd's got to provide a good cross. It's behind him, White. Now Dale, and they've got the goal. Cardiff, though, have still got some defending to do. It's a great cross, and Robertson